Hello everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to the channel. In case you are new here, hello, my name is Roxanne, also known as By Bun. I'm a mixed media artist, illustrator, and maker of things. Today I'm going to be bringing you a sketchbook tour. This is one of my smaller moleskine mixed media sketchbooks that I recently completed in May of this year. You have seen probably a number of sketchbook tours here on the channel. This is an unusual year for me in that I am finishing a lot of sketchbooks at the same time. I happen to work in a lot of sketchbooks at once, so I'm never just in one start to finish. I usually have like 8 to 10 going at a time. When that happens, I find that they usually all kind of finish at the same time, so I'm in a big finishing sketchbook year. So that's not going to be the norm moving forward, and definitely don't think that I just crank these out of nowhere. This is one that I started in October of 2022, and I just finished in May of 2025. So it has taken me a while to work on this one. Obviously, I work in different sketchbooks depending on what I'm in the mood for. So you would have kind of seen that reflected in a number of my different sketchbook tours here on the channel, whether they're my more sort of project-based ones, more illustration-based, finished artwork sort of things, all over the place mixed media, which is what this is. I have a real wide range of things that I like to work in from time to time. That all said, let's go ahead and get into this little sketchbook tour. As I mentioned, I started this in October of 2022. A lot of my sketchbooks started in 2022. Now they're all finishing in 2025. This is the Moleskine Art Collection sketchbook. I get asked a lot what kind of my favorite mixed media sketchbook is. It's this. I use the moleskines for when I want to have things that are like art journal-y, finished art journal spreads, but that I can also sort of draw and watercolor in. It's not my favorite for like finished watercolor work or like finished illustrations. I prefer the Strathmore mixed media softcover sketchbooks for that. But the moleskines, specifically the art collection moleskines, that's the paper you need to withstand mixed media. Those are my favorite for really more of the heavier, ephemera, chunky sort of stuff, which you're going to see in this sketchbook here. I have not even done a preliminary flip of this, so you and I are going to just jump in this together. So here we go. As for the stickers on the front, a number of these are my own. This is mine from my Patron Saints zine. This is mine. This is Lee Ellickson. This is from Flesh PNG. Someone sent me this, so I'm not sure the origins of this. And then this is actually my own drawing from the Occupied Oracle. I had an extra illustration that is actually an original illustration done with pencil on label sticker tape, whatever. So that's what that is. And the back, I have one of my own stickers as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Not much going on in the front. Normally I have a lot more going on in the front cover, but that's what's happening here. Again, a lot of my own stickers going on here, a little fortune, ticket thing, some random little stuff. I usually put more stuff in the front here, but that's just the way that this one sort of shook out. Really messy, random beginning. This actually started because I had an accidental blob of ink and my pages got sort of stuck together, and I literally wrote, shit, my pen exploded, and that was that. I also remember I started this when I was in our cabin in Big Bear, so I was drawing sort of really messy A-frame stuff and using the supplies that I had there, which were pens that explode due to high altitude, and really messy crayons, and I think this is actually some oil pastel that's in there. There's a random like art kit of kids supplies that's up there, so I tend to reach for that just because it's fun and random, and I can just make really messy things that have no, meaning. We got a random like cat skull person. I think I had a lot of plans to like fill in a background on this and I just never did. There's a number of mixed media things. I do remember also starting this in Big Bear. The first few pages of this was when we were on a trip up there. So some of the pages kind of are a little bit unfinished. This was definitely going to be a more detailed art journal spread of some sort, but I just sort of stopped here for whatever reason. There's times where I get really invested in my art journal spreads and I come back and I just keep adding and adding and adding to them. And I could see where I could come back, even actually just looking at this. I'm like, ooh, I could add over here and do this and do this. But I also just know myself that like sometimes it's just about playing with materials and then kind of moving on. And that happens a lot to journal spreads. This was actually a video. I don't remember if this was a video that ended up on YouTube or on Patreon, but this was definitely for a video of some sort. I was using limited supplies, and I think I was trying to use materials that was in my mom's art room or something like that. I don't fully remember what I was doing with this here. More random little illustrations of this big chunky mushroom thing. These were doing some of the watercolor plants that were up in Big Bear. Random guy with oil pastel. It's kind of rare that I don't come back and outline things with a black pen, so it's kind of a little bit of a different look for me here. But yeah, he's cool. I like the background. The background's cool. We have a finished journal spread. There's a number of completed journal spreads in here. This is why I like the moleskine art collection paper, because it can withstand a lot of my crazy mixed media application of stuff, because there is a lot of media on this, let me tell you. And the crazy wolf illustration guy, he is done with acrylic ink on top of all of the mixed media layers that I have going on here. I actually sketched him in a different sketchbook and then brought him into this page, but I thought he paired well with this illustration with the dog sleds and stuff. We have another sort of finished art journal spread, not as detailed as some of my other ones, but this was actually me playing with an idea for a different painting that I ended up completing. It was for an art show that I was working on, so I wanted to kind of figure out the shape of these fish heads and how I was going to overlap them and whatnot. So this was kind of an interesting experiment of both it being something that I was working towards for a larger art piece, but also I was able to kind of have fun and making kind of a bit of an art journal spread in this at the same time. I like the, I remember using heavy-bodied white paint to get a lot of that sort of gestural highlights kind of going on top. We got some random studies, a pool floaty, a boat, more little studies. I don't even know, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really even remember a lot of this. And this one ended up upside down. So there's that. There's that. Some of this stuff is so old. Okay, we have another art journal spread. There's a lot of art journal spreads in this one. This was one I was pretty happy with. Again, playing with ideas for a larger painting that I was working on. This was all for a show that I was working towards. I actually really love this and how busy things are. I feel like this very much reflects my art journaling style, I think. This I actually remember because I did this pretty much in a day. I was at a booth at an art fair and I was selling stickers. So in between my downtime, when I was anxiously sitting there as people were coming up and talking to me, I was filling in all of these little doodle lines in the background here. So it just became like my weird little busy work along with these weird little bug things. It started off as sort of like a swatch page of where I was dumping leftover things, and then I started adding all this stuff on top, but I was drawing the cardboard trash cans that were around at the art fair. It was like an art walk thing. So I started drawing the trash cans that were all lined up, and then I did these weird bug things, and then I just was like obsessively adding all of the little detail lines in the background because I was very anxious this particular day. So I feel like it sort of reflects that in this spread a little bit. These are just random. I don't remember doing these. I don't remember doing these at all. This was something I was dabbling on for a long time in between other things. I meant to come back and outline all of these little tiny branches because this is actually a bird's nest. This was something that I had started on my own, and then I came back and I was working on with an art group that I was sort of meeting with every week. I was adding things to it and then walking away. It kind of just became a random hodgepodge of unfinished things. So that's where it ended up. I felt no desire to come back and finish it. This was another art journal spread that I probably could have come back to and added a bunch more to, but I didn't. I love this like solid block of blue at the bottom. You could tell that I was experimenting with some things that I don't usually do in my work, and I actually really like this. This is also a piece of a different sketchbook that I chopped up and stuck in there. This was a piece of something that I had found somewhere. Oh, I found this on the street, and it's funny because it's someone's like D&D notes, which I thought was really funny. So yeah, again, I probably should have come back and finished these, but you know, there's usually just a point in my art journaling where I'm like, I'm done. And I just don't have any desire to come back to things. So I don't force myself to do it. If I'm not motivated to come back and work on something, I'm not going to do it. This was also a bit of a journal spread, messy thing. I was dabbling on this while doing other things. When I do art journal spreads like this, any sort of mixed media stuff, I work on a bunch at one time. It's never just one that I sit and do from start to finish. So that's where that one ended up. This is some broccoli, which was funny because I was at Trader Joe's when I got the idea for this, and they had like a sign and because they had a recall on their cheddar broccoli soup or something like that. Not that I've never even had it before, but they had a sign at the checkout and it said Trader Joe's unexpected broccoli cheddar soup may contain insects. And I don't know why I thought that was the funniest thing, and I took a picture of it and it like really stuck in my brain. So painted this giant weird broccoli, and then there are all these like sketched bugs in the background that I was going to illustrate and add more to, and I never did. So that was that. This was a messy swatch page / like leftover media that I was just dumping in here. So I had these transfers that were from another sketchbook. Actually, you guys probably, have you seen that? No, actually I'm thinking of this. These are from a different sketchbook where I ended up tearing a lot of the pages out. That is in a Patreon video called Condensing Sketchbooks. So I took those transfers and put them in here because there really wasn't much going on in my sketchbook page as it is, although I'm seeing some color testing back here, which I'm remembering I actually did in a junk journal for junk journal July or January or something. That video is up here on the channel, wherever that is. Another art journal spread / this is from a different sketchbook that again I chopped up, so I chucked that little head in here because I thought it was cool. And the rest of the background just sort of is what it is. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of mixed media stuff in this. I tend to just, this size too, I really like this size for art journaling. It works well with my detailing. I like the way that it feels as I sort of add stuff to it and it bulks up. It's just like, as far as mixed media goes, this is definitely like a happy place thing for me. I believe I worked on this in a video for Patreon at some point, like an art journal with me video or sketchbook video. I don't remember anything else about it. Random little things. This might have been for a working every day in my sketchbook for a week thing, also for Patreon. We've got the eyeballs. They're all just like sketchy little eyeballs here. And then I had a random little still life, which probably I was referencing Still Here Still Life on Instagram for that. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. I don't remember doing this guy either. My patrons will probably be like, that's from that video. They're gonna know as soon as I start flipping through this. It's really funny. I actually love all these little hot pink details here. Too bad that hot pink color does not get picked up in a scanner. So this guy will just live here in my sketchbook and nowhere else. This was just random things that I thought I was going to turn into an art journal spread. It never did. And these were some hands that I chopped out of a different sketchbook and stuck into this. I really like the way that hand looks. I love drawing hands. It's just one of my favorite things to draw. And I love when they look really mangled and weird. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't remember this either. I think this is for a video. It must be for a video of some sort. I used one of those highlighter colored pencil things in the background here because I was really obsessed with those for a while. I still sort of am, actually. They're the dry, what are they called? The dry markers, dry highlighters. I don't know. That's a random one. Yeah, okay. I think a lot of these were from a like working every day in my sketchbook video. I'm pretty sure. Because I think I did like a week of like every day for a certain period of time. I was trying to work in my sketchbook, and I think that's how this came about. Because a lot of these are really random. We got this random tiger cloud thing. It was very random. very random. There's times where I just get really obsessed with like certain colors. So I'll just like pick a subject matter that fits within that color just because I want to paint with that color. And then weird things happen like this. And then I also love a pattern. Any kind of weird pattern thing I can continue, I'm definitely going to do it. So that happens a lot in my work. Again, a combination of a weird art journal page thing that kind of just was dead in the water. This is an illustration from a different sketchbook that I moved out and stuck in here. I don't remember doing this, but there's a pomegranate and some roses. I probably could have come back and done something with this, like add more color or something. But here's the thing too, I live in a more is more mentality. So I guess in my brain, really no sketchbook page is ever complete. Like there has to just get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done with this sketchbook, because I could just keep fussing with things and adding stuff in, you know, 1,000 times. So I'm telling this more for myself than for you guys, really, because I look at this and I'm like, wait, this sketchbook's not done. I can come in and add more stuff. Girl, move on. It's time to move on. We got this little skeleton guy here. A lot of this was done with Posca. I could tell because the Poscas like shred your paper, and they shred this paper bad. This was before I started using the Artex acrylic markers that I'm absolutely in love with. So yeah, you'll see slowly I weed myself off of Poscas because they just, you can just see it. Like it really pills up your paper. But those, the Artex ones do not though. So this is a lot of just my happy doodles, skeletons, ferns, weird starry backgrounds, and then filling in naked space or negative space with color. That's like a default comfort thing for me. Okay, we got some random strawberries. I actually really love these. I would love to like lift these out and illustrate these somewhere else. There's a couple of things in here that I would lift out and illustrate. Honestly, that could be its own fun little video. Let me know if you want to see that. I would definitely go through this and pick out things and re-illustrate them like to completion, because I think this is really cool. Lots of chickens here. I was working on my petition for chickens zine, mini zine. So there's some chicken things. There's a chicken coop underneath here. These were cut out from a different sketchbook. That's how they ended up in this. This particular sketchbook where I did cut a lot of things out of it, I ended up really hating the paper in it. It was an art alternatives sketchbook and I just could not stand the paper. So I chopped the whole thing up, gave Roman the rest of it for him to just go ham on. And what little illustrations were in there, I cut them up and stuck them in this sketchbook. Sorry, my pug got up and he's very unsettled right now. Moving right along, random little bits. These are all snippets from random little things that just ended up into this. Not much to say there. This was for something, but I don't remember what. I love a candelabra. That's what's going on there. This was another art journal spread in process, but I'm actually remembering what this was. This was the first time I started using the Artex markers, and I was test running that in a mixed media scenario to see how I liked them and how they layered on top of stuff. Obviously, they layer beautifully. So yeah, this is kind of what started the obsession with those markers. But yeah, this was a video that I was going to film, or I did film it rather, but I ended up just, I don't know, it's the footage is somewhere. I never ended up editing it together into anything, but I did a thing where I played in my sketchbook for a week only using these markers. And that's what a number of these pages coming up are. So this was sort of like my mixed media test. Oh, and then we have, because I work completely out of order. There's more marker pages coming, but this is actually one of these spreads from my new cacti class, the cacti online class. There's 2 spreads in here. This was kind of like the main one, but these are my demo spreads from the class. So if you take the cacti class, you learn how to do this from start to finish. Here's more of that marker video. We're back in it. We're back in it now. This was me testing those Artex markers for a week. I think that footage is going to end up in like a mixed media mashup video for Patreon because it just, I don't know, I just stopped working on it partway through. I never got around to editing it. And then I had subsequent videos where I was talking about the markers, so it didn't make sense for me to like go back and make this one, put this one together. So a lot of this footage is going to end up in a mixed media mashup video for Patreon, which is where I have just a whole assortment of clips of random things that I'm working on that maybe can't be a full video, but they end up collectively being a fun, just again, a mashup, a mix-up of stuff. This is cool though. Wish that I could scan it. I can't because the colors are too bright. So here's a big hand and color swatches for something else that I don't remember. This was more using the Artex markers, playing around with those. Sorry, my dog is really unsettled. Are you okay? These were swatches and an illustration, again, from that Art Alternatives sketchbook that I hated. This guy ended up becoming a sticker and a magnet and all sorts of fun things. Definitely one of my favorite illustrations, and I'm glad that now he's in this one that I can kind of like save forever. Here is the other cacti spread. This is the second one, a little bit more whimsical with the color selections here. Again, you can see this from start to finish in my cacti class. Let me actually keep the wax paper in these spreads here. Okay, next up, if you remember, I used to do monthly favorite videos here on YouTube where I would illustrate my monthly favorites in my sketchbook. So these videos are up here on the channel. This is that sketchbook, which I also forgot until this moment right now. And you can see that there's a couple of spreads where I was kind of trying to figure out what my favorites were going to look like each month. So we had this one with gouache, my 5-year journal, Disneyland. I don't know what those are from, but okay. Yeah, these are from 2023. Also very apparent that I work out of order in my sketchbooks. Usually I jump all over the place, but the favorites, I had saved 12 spreads in the back of my sketchbook thinking they would just live back there, and I'd work through them, so that's why they're kind of towards the back of the sketchbook. It makes zero sense. Here's my February favorites. I remember I was playing Cult of Lamb a lot, drinking a lot of coffee apparently. This was I'm Glad My Mom Died, that book. I remember vividly reading that. That's why that's in there. Runaway Railway had just opened. The Disneyville podcast. I think I watched Megan. Yeah, I actually remember a lot of these things. Wow. Then I started doing the monthly patterns, which I think is actually way more successful as far as like representing my favorites. I just think it looks a lot cooler, and it definitely like scratches my itch of making everything into a pattern. So I think this was when I had my Shinhan Pass watercolors. I had read Bunny by Mona Awad, and we were planting strawberries in our backyard. See, this I can remember. How come I can't remember everything else? This was for Soaring Over California at California Adventure. I love this so much. So much. This was Bob Baker Marionettes. I remember this being incredibly time consuming, but it still looks really cool, so it was worth it. I'm gonna tuck something underneath this so that my pages lay a little bit more flat. There we go. Oh no, that's gonna bother me. Okay, scratch that. Yeah, I remember this being really time consuming to do, but it turned out really cool, so I don't care. We have shells. I don't entirely remember the inspiration behind this, but it looks really cool. We've got mushrooms. I don't know if this was monthly favorites or if I drifted into something else. No, I still think it was, because this was a monthly favorite. So I don't know. Maybe this is because I was reading Mexican Gothic or something. I don't know. And then I had this crazy mixed media Star Wars thing. This was for this represented my son's birthday because we did a big droids Star Wars thing. We went and built a droid at the Droid Depot. That's what that was. This was unfinished for, I think this was September favorites, because I met with some friends at a tiki bar to celebrate a birthday. Never came back and finished it. Then we have random stuff in the back here. This birdhouse is haunted. I think the birdhouse sketch was from that other sketchbook, but then I just started adding off of it. I actually completely forgot that I did this. This is recent. This is like within the past 6 months I did this. and I have somehow already forgotten it. So there's that. Random Artex marker plate. Oh no, these are alcohol markers. I got some alcohol markers, so I was playing around with that. This is something I was drawing with my son. We were doing like a little sketchbook sesh together. That's what's going on here. Actually, this is all from that sketchbook sesh, which is going to be on Patreon. Some swatches in the back and crazy swatches in the back as well, with more things from the cacti class back there, and some funny quotes that people said while I was working at my booth at an art walk. Someone said, "These stickers are so fire." Someone else said, "This is your brain, isn't it? And it's how you share it with the world." I loved that, so I wrote it down. And then I also wrote, someone was walking by my booth, and I wrote down what they said, and they said, "I want to take a picture so we can remember this day." I don't know what that was in reference to, but I wrote it down. So just random little quotes, but kind of fun. Yeah, kind of interesting. I actually really like that I jotted that down there, but the back is absolute chaos. So there you have it. That is my little mixed media sketchbook tour here. Again, don't get used to it. This is not normal, me completing all these sketchbooks and having all these sketchbook tours, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little one. If you made it to the end of this video, leave a comment for me down below with an emoji that symbolizes your favorite page or spread that you saw here in this sketchbook. I love trying to guess what was your favorite just based on emojis. I think we did this in another video, and it was really fun to see what you guys posted. So I'd love to know down below, or just tell me what your favorites were from this sketchbook. I'd love to know. And let me know if you guys want to see a video of me sort of lifting sketches out of this, because there's definitely some things in here that I think could be fun to revisit, and maybe we bring it into a new sketchbook and illustrate it. Could be kind of fun. Let me know down below. Otherwise, if you're new here, consider subscribing, like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.